Sa puntong ito, balikan naman natin ang kwento ni Laude. Kausapin natin ngayon, live mula sa Texas, sa Amerika, si PJ Raval, ang direktor ng Call Her Ganda, isang award-winning documentary tungkol sa pagkamatay ni Laude. Sabi sa iyo, PJ, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, well, PJ, where were you when you heard the news that President Duterte had given absolute pardon to Joseph Scott Pemberton?
Well, I'm currently in the United States. And so as you can imagine, around probably 4 a.m. my time, I started getting all these text messages and quickly turned on the news to see what was happening. But to be quite honest, this week and the last few days, there's been a lot of twists and turns in terms of the story of Jennifer Laude and Pemberton. So I wasn't surprised things were happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Let's talk about those twists and turns. Before this surprise announcement by the president that he was granting absolute pardon to Pemberton, there was a possibility that he could get out earlier because the Olongapo Regional Trial Court had said that he could be released any day soon, and that really upset a lot of people. What were you thinking at that point, even before this pardon came out?
Yeah, I mean, so I made this documentary, and during a lot of the screenings, part of the reason why I made the film is because Pemberton had submitted an appeal, and it seemed like it was, just ongoing without any kind of real resolution. And so I was always, during screening Q&As or even, interviews such as these, I would hypothesize a little bit about what are some of the possibilities. And a lot of them were really unpredictable, just truly kind of reflecting the current administration and how unpredictable it can be also. But somehow I think the Laude family attorneys, specifically attorney Virginia Suarez, I think kind of knew that probably something like this was going to be attempted. Whether or not it was going to be accepted and recognized by the court was a completely that was a question. And unfortunately, it was recognized by the regional court in Olongapo when Pemberton made the appeal to be released early.
Your documentary, PJ, won many awards. There seem to have been very positive reactions to that, to your work. And now that Pemberton is about to be released, perhaps return to the United States already after 6 years. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, it's a grave injustice what is happening right now. As someone who actually has dual citizenship, I definitely understand that there's a very complicated relationship between the United States and the Philippines. And I think right now there are a lot of activists who are supporting the Laude family in protesting this and pointing out to the fact that perhaps this is just ongoing U.S. imperialism happening in the Philippines. Why should a U.S. military serviceman be afforded special treatment, especially in the Philippines, after killing a Filipino? So we'll see what happens, but but thankfully there's groups like Ganda, all these trans and LGBTQ plus community organizations that are going to be constantly drawing attention to the fact that this story has been a grave injustice. And for me as a filmmaker, I'm honored to have been able to use my skills to capture the story and bring it to an audience worldwide. And so I'm going to continue doing that.
Would you still, I don't know if you call that a sequel, no, for a documentary. Would you do that if you were given that chance? Because, like you said, no, there have been so many twists and turns to this story, and it seems like it didn't end really.
Well, funny that you mentioned that. I mean, ever since the documentary, has premiered, we've always been kind of following as I mentioned, the kind of the twists and turns that are happening. So I don't know if there's going to be a full-on sequel, but currently I am working on updating some of the materials, maybe an accompanying companion piece that really goes into the complexity of this situation in terms of the unpredictable nature of everything.
Well, thank you for joining us this evening, PJ Raval, the director of a documentary on Jennifer Laude, Call Her Ganda. Maraming salamat sa iyo, PJ.